everybody, and welcome back at Adobe Live. I'm your host, Kladi, an Italian designer based in Manchester, UK, and I'm very excited to welcome you at another episode of How to Graphic Design. This is a brand new show that is only here at Adobe Live. During this hour together, we're gonna learn how to create your favorite work, and most importantly, we're gonna create brand new portfolio pieces to enhance your portfolio in order to get the job of your dreams. And of course, we're gonna be sharpening our skills using the wonderful Adobe apps. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh the page because at the moment it's loading. I just want to make sure that everybody is joining the chat, and perfect. I can see everybody. I can see me in the chat as well. So Frank, Cody Bear, Blease, Steve, lovely to see you. Steve, it's a brand new image. Nearly didn't recognize you there. Fantastic. Zed, nice to see you. Welcome everybody. Bliss is saying, pulling up the seat in front of the class. Fantastic. I'm really excited to have you all here. Today is a very exciting day. I'm going to show you right away. We're going to jump into my screen to show you the final result. I think is a very lovely stream. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna literally have fun while we learn how to draw. So if you're one of the people that says, I don't know how to draw well, think again, because I'm gonna show you how easy it is to learn to create the blueprint of your design by using shapes. Let me go ahead and put my hair away so we can go ahead and focus just on our design. Let me see if there is any question in the chat. Bliss, did you bring an apple for the teacher? I prefer a peach, please. Lovely to see you here. By the way, if you're watching from YouTube and you want to say hi, the place is b.net/live or behance.net/live. That's the chat that I'm currently reading during the live. If you're watching this on a replay, hello, what's up? And of course, as I was just saying, all this video, the previous shows on Adobe Live, and all the episode of How To are of course available on a replay. So you can have two options. One is to launch in Illustrator right now, so you can work together with me and we can create this lovely Lima together. Or you can just sit, relax, grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, glass of water, whatever you fancy, and then simply enjoy the community, get chatting. Of course, let me know where are you watching from. I'm always extremely excited to see our international community. I'm currently located in Manchester, UK, although I finally get to travel a lot. So I'll be in Italy during the previous streams. I'll be in the States very soon. So very, very excited. Perfect. For those of you, George, nice to see you. I'm very happy to hear that I'm an inspiration for you. And it's Tuesday, by the way. Someone is saying happy Monday. It's Tuesday right now. Unless you're somewhere else in the world where it's still Monday. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's our little Lima. Before we get started, I'll give you like a minute so you can open Illustrator. I wanted to show you a couple things. First of all, I am doing currently tutorials every single day, nearly at least 4 or 5 times a week with reels. So you can see here we have a little preview. Let's see if it plays with some music of drawing with shape. Again, this is just a teaser preview you can find on my Instagram reels, but you will find many other reels. We literally have full tutorial so you can learn how to do things both in Illustrator or Photoshop in under 1 minute. Those are like short formats tutorial. They focus on the tools that you gotta use. So if you want something quick and snappy to sharpen your skills, create that thing that you don't know how to do, first of all, comment and let me know, especially if there is something in particular that you've been looking forward to learn. Let me know so I can create that tutorial for you. And regarding our how-to, there is actually a form that I created on my website. So if you head to iamkladi.com/how-to, you can literally use this big blue button to send me your request. A lot of requests are just based on the app, Photoshop Illustrator, which is fine. But if you have a specific project, like maybe your client asks you to create a menu or a poster or your business card or your social media or reels or whatever you want, that is the place where you can click the button and let me know what you want to do. Perfect. Also, before we move forward, I want to mention that our wonderful Adobe Live is now on Instagram as well. So you will be able to take part. This is me with this promo. But if you click here, you will actually have access to this promo, which takes you right away on this lovely Adobe Live account that is finally with us here in Instagram as well. Brilliant. So it looks like we're all ready to go. Everybody is joining. Hello, Babita. I'm so happy that you're here joining the class. Cody Bear, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Alex, Cody, Bliss, Gus, fantastic. I think it's time to get started. Again, I'll keep looking at the chat. If you are watching from YouTube, head over behance.net/live. This is this hour together that we have. So take advantage of it and ask any question regarding graphic design and all sorts. So where I start, first of all, is by looking at references. So we're going to jump real quick into the internet. Remember, follow Adobe Live, follow at I am Kladi. That is my Instagram, by the way, I didn't mention, where you can find all the tutorials every day. But I simply go on Google or really anywhere you want in order to scout for images. In particular, I love to draw animals. There is a tutorial coming up that is about drawing cats. So if that's something also that you want to do, that's going to be on my Instagram pretty soon. And I love lemurs. I always wanted to visit Madagascar because I know that that's one of the places where lemur lives. So the first things, whenever you start drawing, you can take pictures, you can sketch, but sketch, I don't like to start from sketches because I really want to jumpstart that issue of people that say, I don't know how to draw, I'm not confident with the pencil, I really have that fear of the white page. And then my answer to you is use a photo. Steve is saying they always look surprised. Also, my mom is in the chat. Ciao, mama. I love that you guys know that it's my mom. Ciao, ciao. Buonasera. Perfect. So, you can simply Google an image that you want. I usually like to create collages. So something else that you can do is maybe to take a couple pictures, bring it in Photoshop. In this case, we're just drawing a single lemur. So we're just drawing like a single animal. So it doesn't really matter. Maybe we can use different pictures to have different area of inspirations. But in reality, if you're creating something more complex, like a full scene, I would recommend to references from images. But first of all, to create your surreal collage, there is an how-to. By the way, if you head on imkladi.com/how-to, you have access to all the replays of these streams before in order to create collages in Photoshop. What I will do here is literally take a screenshot of these lovely fluffy animals right here. Let me go ahead and make sure that I mute my desktop. And you can take as many photos as you want. Again, those are simply to use as a reference for your little furry baby. And by the way, I would love to see someone that draws along with me, or maybe you can draw in your own time, but then maybe you can tag me at I am Kladi on Instagram, or you can send me your work. I would love to see if you create something else. It doesn't have to be a lemur. I'm just obsessed with lemur, and that's my lemur result. But the beauty of these techniques is that there is no right or wrong. So I'm going to keep this open. I'm just going to go ahead and lock everything here besides the color palette, just so we can start from scratch. So by the way, you can select any element in your Illustrator file, and then once you select it, you can use Command 2 in order to lock them. So everything is locked there, and we can start from scratch. So the first thing, it will be to head to the layers panel. If you do not see the layers panel in your machine, head to the window menu. That is the place where all the panel, if you ever hear me mentioning some panels and they're not present in your machine, the window menu is the home of all the panels, which are neatly organized in alphabetical order. So if you scroll down to the L, you'll be able to select layers and then activate the layers panel. It will pop up in front of you. Fantastic. The layers panel is very useful in order for you to control part of your content, so we can split it in different areas. If you start neat and organized, your future you will be very thankful because you're just making your life easier. So I'm just going to go ahead, and as you can see, I already created different layers here. Remember, the order of the layers matter at this moment. You know, we're starting from scratch, so it doesn't really matter. In order to create a layer, simply click at the little bottom. Let me see if we can probably lost the bottom of Illustrator. Here it is here. So at the bottom of the layers panel, you'll see there is a little plus icon, and this is the place in which you can click on in order to create a brand new layer that you can double click on the layer and you can name it whatever you want. So in this case, for example, we can call this layer images. Perfect. Now select the layer that you're wishing to use, and then all I'm going to do is to head to my screen. You can perhaps browse your folders, and I'm gonna go and select the images of my little Lima that I've downloaded from the internet. By the way, there is no issue in copywriting in this case, simply because we are using these images as a reference. So we're not looking to copy any of these. We're not looking to trace any of these, although before the end, I'm going to show you the shortcut if you really want to be fast into creating an image using shape. Let me see if there is any question. Babita is asking, I joined the first time class, so I'm asking if this is a paid or unpaid class. Babita, here at Adobe Live, there is free content every day, nearly every hour of the day, from everywhere in the world. So you are welcome to join. All you need is at Adobe account in order to log in your Behance page, and this is for free. So even if you do not have, maybe you're just learning and you want to see if you want to start with your graphic design career, all you need is to register with your email address, and that will be fine, even if you do not have purchased the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription yet. Or perhaps you can join this stream and download, in this case, Illustrator as a trial. And this will be a great opportunity for you to just get an experience and having fun with this wonderful app and trying it out for free while watching the stream. Fantastic. So let's keep going here with this wonderful stream. I feel like I need to move this microphone away so I can look at the screen. Perfect. Here we are. So sorry for that. Okay, so as you can see, the main thing that you want to take in account are the main characteristics. So we can definitely see that we have this really cute little here, these eyes that look like almost like a little owl. They're really, really round, and then they have this shape around the nose, and then the nose looks almost like as if it's cut out inside this shape. And then definitely something that is recurring is these striped tails. So those are the main things that we want to do. If you like, perhaps do like a list, that will be like the eyes, the ears, the head, the leg, and the tail, and the main body. So we already have 5, I think. So head, ear, nose, eye, body, and tail. So those are 6 main elements. That means that we can start with 6 different shapes in order to work around our little Lima. So the first thing that I'm gonna do here is to click on our images layer, and then I'm gonna select the top fly out menu, and from there I'm gonna transform our layer into a template. And look what happens. By selecting the template, the layer will be automatically locked. You can see here we have this little lock icon appearing next to the layer, and then the images will automatically also will be transparent. So there is less contrast, less saturation, and we can start to draw on top of them. So we can go ahead and make sure that we maybe bring these images a little bit down so we can start with our drawing layer. You can create a new layer. In this case, I have a few. This drawing probably will be at the very top because those are just going to be our basic shapes in order to create our blueprint. Okay, so let's go ahead. The first thing that I perhaps will do is to start from the easiest part, which is, and by the way, I'm going to use this little fella here for the face and this little fella here for the body, and probably this other fella here for other part if we want to. So we do not need to use, you know, one image. That is the beauty of using different references. So let's go ahead and zoom in this lovely face. I'm gonna press the letter L to activate the ellipse tool, but before doing so, I want to make sure that everybody knows where you can find the shapes or live shapes tool, which are located inside the toolbar, which is just above my head right there. I'm gonna zoom in real quick so everybody can see it. Boop, 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 is right there. So the first shape is oh, where is it gone? I lost everything here on my screen. Here it is. I was zooming too much. So that's the rectangle tool, which is the main shape that is represented inside our toolbar. If you click and hold on it, you will see that all the other tools that are nested and hidden behind the rectangle tool will show up. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select the ellipse tool. You can also real quick have a look at the shortcuts. So the M on your keyboard will bring up the rectangle tool. The letter L on your keyboard will bring up the ellipse tool. So again, you can just start with the ellipse tool. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is to select the drawing layer, and then I'm going to start by clicking and dragging in order to create an ellipse. Now, if you want for this ellipse to be a perfect circle, all you have to do is to hold the Shift key, and in this case, you will be able to draw a perfect circle. You will see the proportions are constrained. And I'm gonna go ahead and press the letter V. So the shortcuts are so important when you start drawing, just because they allow you to move quickly, so you don't have to click all the time, but it's completely up to you. You can, if you wish, go back to the toolbar and select the selection tool. Otherwise, the shortcut is V. So far we press L to access the ellipse tool, V to go back to the selection tool to select our shape. Then, just to make sure that I can keep seeing our image, I wanna bring the feel, I wanna make the feel of the circle transparent. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the fill control of my shape, and then you can click the none fill in order to make it transparent, or also press the the forward slash inside your keyboard there. Fantastic. So we have our general shape for our little Lima head. And then what I'm going to do here is to duplicate this shape by clicking on it to select it, and then holding the Alt or Option key, depending if you're working on a window or on a Mac. Of course, it will be Option for a Mac, Alt for a window. And then I'm going to drag this shape up in order to create this little shape that they have like at the forehead. I actually feel that probably is the other way around. I think that yeah, probably that will be a little bit better. So we have this little frame. And by the way, you know, illustration is completely personal. You do not have to use a perfect circle. If you feel that your Lima or your cat or whatever you're doing has more like of an ellipse shape, you can use that ellipse shape. Is absolutely up to you. I like to use geometric shapes and like sort of work with perfect shapes. But again, that's completely up to you. So we already drawn the main face, and then we already created these intersections between these two shapes in order to have this little top color of the fur, this little fringe. Beautiful. I'm gonna probably select these two and move them up a little. Using my arrow. And if you want to make the increment, whenever you move anything using the arrow on your keyboard, if you want to increase the increment, always use the Shift key while you move it, and you will see. So that's just me moving it. You can barely see it with just arrow, and then if I use the Shift, you will see that the increment is definitely increased. Perfect. Then we can start either from the ears of the eyes. That's absolutely up to you. The beauty of that is that we only have to draw them once. Let's start by using the eye, just because it's a little bit more simple. In this case, for the eye, I decided to use a shape that is just the ellipse. So in this case, I'm not going to use a perfect circle. That means that I'm going to press the letter L, click and drag without holding the Shift key. And if you want to change the shape, the reason why I mentioned before on purpose that those are live shape is because you can move them and you can change them. They are literally alive. They can be transformed. In order to access the anchor point, which are the points that make this live shape, you can go ahead and press the letter A to activate the direct selection tool, which is this white arrow that will allow us to access these anchor point, which are the main structure of our little shape. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and click and drag these anchor point in order to create this shape, which looks a little bit different than a circle. Now, I know that this is different from what I was showing you at the beginning. I think that for my main drawing here that I've done for purpose of trying out our stream, I use the circle, but again, this is the beauty of the live. We can play around with as many shapes as we want. So let's go back to our little lima here. Now I'm going to keep going and creating the same shape. Now, to create a shape that is exactly the same but is offset inside, so it's smaller, you have two options. So you can press Command C and Command F in order to create a copy and paste it on front, and then you can use the Shift key alongside the Option or Alt key in order to shrink it and make it smaller proportionally. And with the Alt key, you also make it proportionally respective to the center. So this is one option. The shape will slightly change. There is another option to offset, which is to use a tool, which is called Offset Path. You want to select your path, add to the Object tool, select Path, then Offset Path. And in this case, you want to offset of a negative value. Of course, as you can see, positive value, offset outside the shape, negative value will offset inside the shape. Here we go. So we have a -40, and I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Don't forget always to click on the preview. Otherwise, you do not see the preview and you won't be able to choose if you're happy or not. Maybe I'll probably do 60. Let's see how that looks like. I think that's probably a little bit better. So we have that round there. And I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And then all I'm left to do is perhaps to do that one more time. In this case, I'm going to use the other technique. Here, not only I'm going to make the shape smaller. So I create a copy, Command C, Command F to press on front. Of course, there will be Control C or Control F if you're working on a Windows machine. And then press the letter A. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and reactivate my anchor point in order to change the shape of the eye. I'm not super happy with it. It looks like perhaps that I need to move the anchor. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and first of all drag it a little bit just like so. And then I'm just going to go and make it smaller. Perfect. I'm kind of happy with the way that it's looking like right now. If you wanted to do the same here, every shape is editable at any time. So you can have literally the time of your life, the time of your life just by editing things over and over again. Things are there for you to experiment. You do not have to get stuck with something in particular. And then I'm going to go ahead and press the letter L to create a little ellipse here for our little pupil. Okay, so we got our eye. I'm going to click and drag over it, all these shapes, and then press Command G to group them. Now make sure to not select. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag over everything. So now we have all our circles and the eye selected. Then I'm going to hold the Shift key and click and drag over the two shapes that I don't want. And as you can see, only the eye is selected. This is because the Shift key alongside a selection will allow you to introduce or subtract any element from the selection. So if I hold Shift and click on this circle, it will now be added to this group of selection. If I click on it, again, holding the Shift key, it will be taken away. Now that I know that all the elements that I want to be selected are selected in the same selection, I'm going to go ahead and press the Command G. There will be Control G on a Windows to group them together. So here now I can move them just by selecting any of them, they will move together. Perfect. So next step will be to create our little ears. For the ears, I usually start from a square. So we're going to jump real quick either by clicking on and holding back on our circle until on the ellipse until we reveal the square, the rectangle, or you can press the letter M and again, we can click and drag in order to create a square. I'm going to go ahead and see if there is any question in the chat. Nixo, I love your workflow where I can follow your work. Well, I'm here on Adobe Live very often. You can go ahead and you have two places, my Instagram, which is I am Kladi, in order to see all the tutorial that is actually a work for 4 to 5 workflows a week. I'm trying to publish as much as possible. And by the way, Instagram is not the nicest with us artists. I really need your support to see if you guys enjoy these reels. So please comment, like, share. It really means the world for, you know, artists and everybody who is just maybe a small business or is just starting on Instagram. Go ahead and check out my reels. Please leave comment. Don't forget to share, and you will see plenty of workflow there to access different way of doing things using the Creative Cloud apps. Or of course, here on my website, I have courses on LinkedIn. I have courses, I think there is actually a course that is now advertised, and I think it's for free on LinkedIn Learning for a LinkedIn Learning Adobe campaign. I should probably have it here somewhere. Let's see if I can give you the link. Actually, I think you can access it from my bio. Let's see if I'm organized enough. So learn graphic design with my videos. Maybe it's this one. I don't even know. No, Kladi's course is on LinkedIn. Here we go. I don't even know what's in my bio. So here, if you go on LinkedIn, there are plenty of courses, and I know that this is now being advertised, social media designing a consistent brand. If you click on the link that I post, you have access for 24 hours for free. So you have the opportunity of joining these courses as well, and plenty of how to and Adobe Live videos. Just put my name on Google, on YouTube or Google, and hopefully you'll enjoy the fun. Perfect. Let's go back to drawing. By the way, for those that are drawing, I can't believe we're already halfway through the stream. I love my time with you guys so much. It goes too fast. So if you're just joining, we are learning how to draw. So there is no excuses. Even if you think you don't know how to draw, I'm showing you how you can draw by using shapes. So literally how we can get from lots of little shapes mixed together into a lovely illustration that can become part of your portfolio. And trust me, if I can do this, anybody can do this. I literally published a book that it was all made in Illustrator about plants, with illustration about plants, and all there were shapes. There was all circles and squares and triangles. That's all it is about. And then of course we're gonna use, and we're gonna just jump in the second phase of using the shape builder tool, the Pathfinder tool, that will allow us to merge these shapes together. So just real quick, I think I didn't say that at the beginning. We're going to use shape first to identify areas that we can bring to life by using the shape that is the closest one to our image. Second part is to create new shape by using the shape builder tool or Pathfinder in order to literally create a new shape with the shape builder or erase area. So for example, you know, we're not going to want this double chin for our little Lima. We're going to delete that. So we're going to use the shape builder tool for that. And then the third part will be to apply color. And the fourth, if we have time in these 30 minutes, I really get work fast, is to apply grain, to really elevate your design and create an effect that is not only too flat and 2D. If you're in the US or your local library is a LinkedIn affiliate, you can access LinkedIn classes with a library card. Oh, that's fantastic, Bliss. Thank you so much for letting me know. I didn't know. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and keep going. So for the years, any years, no matter what I'm doing, as I said, there's one about the cat that is coming out soon on my Instagram. I start with a square. Now the beauty is that I want to reveal something else. We have these things, beside having a live shape, we have live corners. The live corners are this little widget. As you can see, once I hover on it with my arrow, automatically you have this little curve that appears next to the selector itself. So you can click and drag inward. Now make sure that you are only select one of these little this little corner widget. Otherwise, which by the way is the inside of the anchor point. So as you can see, this is the anchor point, the little anchor point that we modified before. Inside each anchor point, there is a corner widget that will allow us to click and drag in order to change the shape of the corner. As you can see here, I'm modifying all corners. I just want to select one, click on it to select one, and boom, here it is. We have our little ear. I think that in this case, perhaps the ear is more like kind of looking like this. here, maybe like this. Here it is. I think that's a better shape. And by the way, you can always transform your shapes at any time. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit happier with the ear looking like this. And you can also change different corners. Okay, so I think that's a little bit better. What I personally tend to do, I tend to like intersect. If you know, on a second step, I will probably start to introduce grids, but I really want to go freehand. This is really for give you confidence and, you know, show you that even if you're approaching this for the first time, you can do it and it's gonna look beautiful. So what I'm doing here, what I would strongly recommend you to do is to perhaps zoom in and maybe intersect area like this corner here. It's just gonna look a little bit more beautiful at the end. It's gonna avoid a lot of little mishaps. If you want to, perhaps you can also bring up this circle if you want to, you know, intersect it with the here, although you don't have to do it. So, you know, feel free. I actually feel that this little fringe maybe can, let's see if we can bring it up. Maybe I will intersect it now. It's too short. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it there. By the way, if you want to make sure that these two circles are actually also aligned to the center, you can click and drag on them, then head to the properties panel. Again, if you do not see the properties panel, every panel lives under the window menu. So remember, hit and choose the top window menu and then select properties panel. And then here you can align to selection. And once you've done so, you can align your shape horizontally. And if you wish vertically, in this case, I don't want to vertically, I just want to horizontally aligned. So I know that the two circles are aligned. Perfect. So all I have to do here is to create a copy of my here. So again, I'm going to click on the here to select it. Hold Shift, as I mentioned before, to add the eye to the selection and press Command C to create a copy, Command F to paste it in front. And then I'm going to use real quick our flip horizontal tool located at the top of our properties panel. And in one click, our shape will flip horizontally. All I have to do here is to drag them. And as you can see, I'm just using the arrows while at the same time holding the Shift key. And I'm looking somewhere else at the chat, so I didn't see where this went. And again, all I have to do here is to make sure that I zoom in so I virtually have this little overlap. Perfect. And I think that we are almost ready to go with our face. I think we're gonna start like that. I think we're missing the nose. We're missing the nose, and the nose is actually a thing on its own because I don't know, that's up to you, but I always create heart for animal nose. I usually create a heart and then I flip it upside down. So I'm actually going to show you how to create a heart, and I'm going to do that here on the side so you can see it properly. So to create a heart, I start by creating a rectangle. So again, press the letter M, and I think that this is like literally, if you get this part of the stream, literally nearly got everything in terms of building an illustration with shapes. So again, press the letter M to activate the rectangle tool and click and drag in order to create your rectangle. We introduced you before to our little corner widget that if you click and drag inward will transform your rectangle almost into like a pill shape. Again, Command C, Command F to create a copy, and then with the copy pasted on top, you can hover on the side, and I'm going to zoom in because I really want you to see these details. You can hover on the side of our bounding box. Bear in mind, those are not the thing that you see around. This is not an anchor point. This is a bounding box that is around our shape, and we can click and drag in order to rotate it. Hold the Shift key to make sure that we rotate it exactly of 90 degrees. Press the letter V and select both of our shape. And now we're gonna invoke our best friend of designing with shape, which is our shape builder tool. As I was introducing you before, shape builder tool is the second step. So first we use shapes and we modify them in order to fit our design. And second, we're gonna start to use them in order to create brand new shape that fit the blueprint of our artwork perfectly. So we're literally gonna start creating new shape, in this case a heart that we're gonna use as a nose for our little Lima. And the tool that I'm talking about is the shape builder tool, and you can go ahead and click on it in order to activate it. As a little animation will show you, the shape builder tool will select and highlight areas of the image that you can either separate or bring together. So let me show you. If I click on this specific area, what is actually happened here is that we have created that area becomes a shape on its own. But I'm going to go ahead and click on the entire thing again and select the shape builder tool, which shortcut is Shift M, by the way. And so one thing that you can do is to click on one of these areas that you can highlight to create a standalone shape. So basically you split it. Then there is a second thing that you can do. You can click and drag any on top of any area in order to merge them. So in this case, any bounding box separation, any path that splits this area will disappear, and you will only be left with the outline path of this specific area. And then there is a third functionality here. We can also use the erase mode of our shape builder tool by accessing the which you can access by using the Option or Alt key. So select the Option and Alt key on your computer and click and drag over the image. You can literally simply drag over it or simply click on it, and the specific path or shape will disappear. So in literally 3 steps, we created a little heart. You can of course rotate it. If you're using it as a heart, just simply rotate it on the top. Of course, for the nose, I'm going to use it upside down. So this is the little workaround that I had for the nose for our little Lima. I'm going to drop it there. Probably I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to align it to our little circle. So again, select it, then select the main head circle. Make sure that we have our selection aligned, and we're going to align them vertically. By the way, it looks like it was aligned respectively to the little heart. You click on the one that you want to use as a reference. So in this case, as you can see that it got super highlighted because I'm using this object as a reference in the align option. This will be called key object. So this is the object that we are aligning everything else respectively to, and I'm going to go ahead and align it, and you will see that now will be our heart that moves respectively. Okay, so we've done the majority of the work. It's time to go ahead and create an artboard. If you wish to use this for your social media, you can either click and drag and press the return key, and then here at the width and height you can choose to use either 1080 by 1920, which is the resolution of a story, if you want to use that maybe for your reel like I did, or just, you know, your story. Or you can use 1080 by 1080, which in case probably we're gonna do just like so, in order to create an actual post for Instagram. Bear in mind that this is also sometimes 1080 by 1350. Their Instagram is also testing this new resolution, so that's completely up to you. You can also use the 1350. Let's actually implement it. Let's work for the future here. So here we have this 1080 and 1350, which is the brand new testing shape for our lovely Instagram. Okay, so click and drag here to select our shapes that we've created. I tend to leave them there just because I think it's nice to have a copy there. We can always hide them, and then hold the Shift key and drag everything to bring it inside our little artboard. Now use the Option key or the Shift key to resize it and bring it to the center. Okay, so it's now time to use the here. If you want them, you can, I will probably add them to this area of the top area of our little Lima, just because I can use it like the here and the like little fringe of the same color and the face of the same color. And then of course we want to delete this part here that is at the bottom. Fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Shift key in order to add all this area in the same selection. And then with my shape builder tool, as I've done before, I'm going to go ahead and add all the shape to the selection. If you're not happy with this and you wish to retain your here as a separate shape, Command Z, you can always undo. Simply click on the ears in order to separate them, and then you can absorb these areas of the hair that you do not wish to use there to the little fringe. Same here with the face. Click once in order to select the area that we want to use, and then Option key to access the erase mode. And here we go, we have our little Lima face that is taking shape. Okay, so I'm gonna press Command G to group all these elements. I know that we have 40 minutes to go. I wanted to show you real quick the body. Let's see. I want to apply color, gray, and we have to do so many things. Let's do it. Let's do it fast. So here in this case, I'm just gonna show you for the body. I've used again a rectangle, and I'm gonna go a little bit freehand here. Again, please feel free to reference the photo. Like I will probably use this one as a reference. So again, like a rectangle, and like we did before, I'm gonna go ahead and use my corner widget in order to create the little hump on top of it, the little lima back, you know, just like so. And probably gonna do the same on the other side, so we have a little belly. So this is literally the way that I will do the body. So I'm gonna jump back in here and kind of freestyle it, but please feel free to use the images in order to keep going with your drawing. I've done this before while I was practicing. So again, that's probably why I'm also gonna go so fast, but there is so much that I want to show you. So I just want to get this drawing out of the way. By the way, you can click and drag on all these shapes, and then here from the properties panel, I think it's nice to give it just sort of a consistency. So maybe one point, you want to make sure that is aligned to the center. Let me zoom in so you can literally see what I'm doing here. So I went and I headed to the appearance section of my properties panel, set the stroke to whatever color you want. You can use gray or black in this case. And I'm gonna add our corner and caps to round. Preferences, I like it rounded rather than sharp. And then I'm gonna lighten the stroke to the center. Then for the little paws, all I've done is literally using little rectangles, just like so. And for the actual like paw, I think that I used the ears. So if you want to go back, that's why I like to keep my original design. I'm going to go ahead and press Command C to copy, and I'm going to bring it down here and press Command V. I literally used the shape that I used for the ear. Again, for consistency, I like to, it's almost like when you create a font that you want to use like the same sort of shapes over and over again. So yeah, for the little paw, I actually went and used the same shape that it was from the ear. Again, you can go ahead and make sure that this is also stroke 1, and then we can also align its little body. Oops, let's make sure that we only select the body. If you haven't grouped it, Shift Command G or Shift Control G to ungroup it, so you can simply select it. Or we can also access this underrated tool located under the direct selection tool, which is called Group Selection Tool, which allows you to select one single element that is part of your selections. In this case, all I want is my little body over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just level up the body to the same level of the little paw. Perfect. So we almost have everything here. I think that I perhaps used the same shape. This is the kind of like, you know, the time where repetition becomes key. So I use the same shape there for the little leg, just right there. Probably made it a little bit bigger. And by the way, you can see that my stroke is changing thickness all the time. That's quite irritating. You can get rid of that simply by heading to window, and let me set it back to 1 first, and then I'll show you how we can get rid of that. Window, transform, to bring up the transform panel, and here you want to make sure that scale strokes is unticked. Once we also scale corners is unticked. By doing so, oops, let's go back into our shape. Now see, I can freely change the scale, and the stroke doesn't change. Sometimes it's useful to have it on, sometimes it's useful to have it off, absolutely up to you. So one more thing that is very, very important, because this is a brand new tool. Of course, here, like we did before, we're going to use the shape builder tool to get rid of this area that we don't want, and we're going to do the same in just a second. But before we move forward, maybe let's just delete this bit here at the face so it doesn't look messy. There we go. I want to delete this bit here. I want to make sure that our heart is safe for our little nose. Okay, so what is missing here is the tail. And the tail is a bit of an awkward shape, because look, like, what does it look like? It doesn't really, you know, maybe you can do 2 ellipses, but then how do you get the circle at the bottom? That can get messy. So let me introduce you to a wonderful tool called the Width tool. Let's go ahead first and use the pen tool, which allows you to create anchor points. So I'm going to start here from the bottom and simply click in order to create a curved area. So again, in this case, all I'm doing is to create a little curve, and I'm going to press the escape key in order to escape from this little curve. Again, curvature pen tool, it looks like a pen tool, but instead of creating straight line with anchor points, every anchor point becomes a curve. So boom, here it is, we did it. And then by selecting the little path, we can go ahead and use this amazing tool called the width tool, which allows you to change the thickness of the stroke anywhere you want. As you can see, once we hover on it, we'll have this little diamond that you can place anywhere you want, and then you can click and drag in order to change the thickness in that specific areas. Listen, you can add it as many times as you want anywhere. I'm just gonna like be silly now and just add it just for the sake of showing you how cool it is. But you can create all sort of thickness, and this is still a stroke, by the way, so we're just dealing with a stroke. Command Z to undo if you're not happy. I was quite happy with the first section of it. I'm probably gonna make it even a little bit bigger. There we go. I really want like a fluffy tail. Maybe have like his face, like he's hiding under his little tail because he's being shy. Perfect. So this is still a stroke. If you want to make sure that the stroke, also, by the way, if you want to change it just from one side, I want to mention that you can use the shape, you can use the width tool on your stroke and then hold the option key. And as you can see, that just modifies one side. I think is quite cool. Perfect. So this is still a stroke. How do we change it into an actual shape so we can have more fun with it? Simply select it, head to Object, Path, and Outline Stroke, and boom, our path is now a stroke. If we press the letter I to activate the eyedropper tool and we apply the stroke effect that we had everywhere else, we can literally have fun with it and do whatever we want. And I'm actually gonna intersect it, probably rotate it a little bit, just like so. So it's just intersecting there, our little lima, and then I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, just like so. Now, before we get going, I can't believe it's time to say goodbye so soon. I'm gonna go ahead and press the letter L to access the Ellipse tool. And here, look what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and create these little stripes. So literally those are two circles that are creating this little stripe around the tail. Now, I strongly recommend you to literally save these two somewhere else here on the side, and then select and use the Pathfinder tool to start, creating once at a time. If you see my drawing, I've done it all at once. I kind of regret it because it was a bit messy. Look, let me see. Oh, I think I actually deleted it because it was messy. See, I just used one circle. So perhaps do like I'm actually saying instead of what I'm doing, just use one circle at a time and select the tail and the circle that you create, and then you can go ahead and create the section of the tail. So again, use another circle, maybe just duplicate it. Here we go, then select the bit of the tail, and again you can go ahead and create the section, and you can do that as many times as you want. Remember, the option key is the key that allows you to enter the erase mode, that then allows you to delete the part that you don't want to use. Okay, so we're gonna do this one more time. We have our shape builder tool. Make sure that we have our little ellipse and our little tail and our little section all selected, so we can now select here. Oops, what happened? Looks like our tail was not selected. Here we go there. We can select our little tail and we can get rid of, oops, just want to get rid of this bit of the circle that we don't want. Last thing to do is this bit of the tail that is sticking out. We don't want it. Just use the erase tool in order to bring it out. Fantastic. So hopefully you can take your time now to literally bring together every part of the shapes that you want to keep. Maybe you want this bit of the paw that is sticking at the top. Certain bit of like here, you don't necessarily have to hide it. That's absolutely up to you. All you're left to do now is to go ahead and select each one of these shapes and give it a color. You can download a color. I can't believe we have 3 minutes. I wanted to show you so much. Well, we'll be back. We'll be back. So you can select any one of these areas and now head to the properties panel, and from the fill color, you can apply a color to it. So in this case, I'm gonna make it black, and you can go ahead and select maybe multiple shape like we've done before. Oops, actually I want to do it the opposite there. So I'm going to make these black. So if you hold shift, you can actually select more than one. So again, here I'm gonna make this black, and maybe I'm gonna make the tip of it still white. Again, absolutely up to you here to make sure that this is not transparent. You want to make it white. Maybe for the nose, I'm using something that is like maybe a light orange or a light pink, and you can go ahead and keep coloring each section just simply by selecting it, because these sections are now just shapes. So all you have to do is to double click on it and you can keep coloring it. In this case, if something like that happened, just make sure that you double click on the actual shape that you want to isolate, or otherwise always you can recur to your shape builder tool. It looked like I probably created a compound path. A compound path makes a path all the same, so it will also absorb the same properties and the same appearance. If that happens to you, go to compound path and make sure that you select release. So now we should be able to now finally color, give a separate feel to each one of these areas. Perfect. So you can go ahead and fun and color all these areas. And before we get going, so yeah, we went from this shape, we applied the color, and then now we have the place here where everything hopefully is in color. How do we get to apply the gradient, this sort of grain effect? I really want to show you this before we say goodbye. Now let's assume that this is pretty much nearly colored. I'm actually gonna go ahead and do the ears, maybe like a darker color, and we're gonna do the same with these eyes over here. Here we go. I don't remember. I think I used like a purple color or something. I don't know. But the other one now are now transparent. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it white real quick. And then I think, what are we left with? By the way, Command Y, that's so important. I can't believe I haven't mentioned that before. Command Y allows you to access the outline tool, which then gives you access to the outline mode, which brings you, let you select different shapes directly from the outline. So for example, if you have something that has got a feel that, for example, before we had like something white on top that it didn't allow you to see, with the outline mode you can select it and then Command Shift right bracket to bring it to the top. Okay, so we're nearly there. I think the last thing here will be left perhaps to do the legs and so on. How do we create probably I will do smaller ears, by the way. Almost look like a little devil. This probably was a good idea to keep the ears separate so we can make it a little bit smaller and then perhaps reposition it here to the back and bring it to the back just like so. Anyway, so what I wanted to show you is to add the grain. I literally have a minute to do so. I will show it to you on this shape in particular. All you have to do is to select the shape, press Command C and then Command F to create a copy. Then we're gonna go ahead and access our transparency little window there, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and click on make a mask. By the way, there is a tutorial on how to make a grain effect on my Instagram. If you needed to watch more, select the mask and create a rectangle here, which is there in the mask. Make sure to pick a different color for this mask that you've created. And then on your rectangle, if you apply a gradient and then head to effect, oh my gosh, I have a minute, effect, texture, grain, it will allow you to create a grain effect that you want to apply. Sorry, I'm making a mess here because I'm going too fast. So you want to apply the grain to the actual shape here that is inside the mask, and then again effect, and we're going to apply a grain. You will see that you have the opportunity of have this grain effect. Make sure to select a color that has a nice contrast. So here, for example, for a lighter brown, I will select a darker brown, so on and so far. And always don't forget to click back to the shape. So the shape works as an actual shape that's the actual mask, so that's the constrained area, and then this other little thumbnail is what is inside, so the opacity effect inside the mask. So that's where you place the rectangle, the gradient and the shape goes inside, so you click on it, but then always click back, because otherwise you will get stuck. This is probably the biggest comment that I've got, that you do not know how to access back Illustrator. Always click back on the shape. Fantastic. So this is the final result, applying a little bit more of time. As you can see, there is grain everywhere. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I look forward to see what you guys create. Post it on Instagram. Hit me up at Hi, I'm Kladi. Send your comments, send your love. As usual, it's a pleasure to be with you. Go and grab a glass of water because there is a graphic glow up coming up with amazing Burval. Enjoy the fun here at Adobe Live. As usual, my pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to see you very, very soon. But for now, it's goodbye. So ciao, ciao, everybody. I will see you soon.